Hi, everybody. I'm Lee, the Executive Director of Atlanta Veg Fest, and we're here for another digital interview for 2020. Today, I'm happy to have Aisha Robinson with us from Five Loaves Atlanta.
Hi, everybody.
Aisha.
Hey, how you doing today?
Good. I'm glad you could join us. I only recently found out about Five Loaves Atlanta. It came across my radar because I follow the organization A Well-Fed World.
Okay.
And I know that they do plant-based solutions for feeding the hungry all over the world. And I wanted to find out first. We can talk about A Well-Fed World too, because I want to find out your connection to them. But first, can you just tell us what is Five Loaves Atlanta and how are you helping the population, the unhoused population in our city?
Well, initially I wanted to start. I wanted to do a vegan potluck for Thanksgiving. And so I decided I wanted to get a bunch of people together online. And so everyone decided hey, it's a great idea, let's do it. And then when it came time to do it, nobody answered. And so I thought to myself, well, maybe I can't feed 100 people today, but maybe I can feed 5 people or 10 people. So that would make a difference. And at first I got a lot of backlash from people saying that nobody would want vegan food and nobody would want plant-based food.
What was the backlash? What was the reason that they said that they wouldn't want it? Just they didn't think it would be palatable, or
people? It kind of showed some people's prejudices of people who don't have, and it's kind of the assumption that poor people don't want vegan food.
I see.
Because if they wanted it, they would go buy it. And I decided to start the organization to pretty much show people the disconnect in a lot of neighborhoods in Atlanta for quality food. So we don't just service the unhoused, we also service people who face food insecurity, people who don't know where their next meal might be coming from. And a lot of those people, they do want fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, but one, they don't have any idea how to prepare those things because they're not in the stores in the neighborhood. It might be 5, 6, 7 miles of absolutely nothing but fast food restaurants. You might not even have a grocery store.
You're talking about a food desert in our city, right? There are a lot of food deserts in Atlanta.
There are a lot of food deserts in Atlanta, and because of regentrification, you do see certain clusters of certain historic neighborhoods that are starting to have a little more Whole Foods presence, or maybe smaller specialty stores. But the people who originally lived in those neighborhoods might not even know about it, or they still don't have the access to be able to purchase things for a whole family out of a specialty store because it's overpriced. So a farmer's market or things like that just aren't even an option. And people, even the people that we service, are finding out wow, so all of this is plant-based. And you're yeah, there's no meat. And they're well, I didn't know you could do that with vegetables. I didn't know you could make a meatloaf with no meat. You're yeah, lentils. And they're how do you do that? So it's amazing to realize that people who are facing food insecurity aren't just people who don't have shelter. It's also people who are in houses, but they have to make this decision that if I pay my rent or if I pay this or pay a car note, then I don't have the ability to buy quality food.
So you're providing not only food for someone who may not know where their next meal is coming from, but you're also providing a basic education on food that they may not know they had access to.
Exactly. So a lot, you'll see chickpeas or pinto beans or something that may be accessible in a particular neighborhood, but those people have never been educated on, well, what could I do with this black bean besides it just being a black bean? So they're not sure, well, do I make a black bean burger? A lot of the recipes you might find online are incredibly complicated, and it makes it seem like you have a lot to do. So when you meet people and you just introduce them to the notion that everything doesn't have to be a burger, doesn't have to be a taco, and that everyone who wants to have plant-based food should have the right to eat like that, And it shouldn't have to be like a privilege of if I live in a more affluent neighborhood, I can have what I want. But if I don't, then I don't deserve to eat healthy food.
I saw that wording on your website, on the Five Lives Atlanta website, where you said access to plant-based food is a right, not a privilege. And that's a very, very good point. And I'm glad that you're out there providing these to people who might want it and need it. How do you find people who need help? Do you go through any specific channels?
We just drive around. I myself, when I was a little younger, actually experienced homelessness in a car, and then I've also experienced bouncing from place to place and extended stay hotels. And so from that, it kind of gave me knowledge of where certain people who may be unhoused or food insecure would be. Mm-hmm. So you have people who during the day, they will be in parks, and about 11 o'clock at night in Atlanta, there's a curfew. Even before the pandemic, there was a curfew. You couldn't be in the park.
Right.
So those people kind of sit at the park until it's time to leave. And either they'll go sleep at the bus stop. There might be like an abandoned house nearby that they may sleep in. And that's kind of where they go. So once you figure out places where people might park their cars, who may be living in their cars, once you get out of the car and say, I have food, and a lot of times the people in the communities will spread the word like, hey, that's the lady who has the food. Go over there. She has food, or she has socks, or whatever. Then you may look up and you saw 3 people, and it'll be 20 people in a line behind your car.
Yeah.
Or it'll even be like children who'll just be like, hey, it's me and my brother and my mom's not home. Can I have some food? And you'll just be like, wow. It blows your mind, because initially I thought I knew who was food insecure. I'm like, well, these people would have food, these people don't. And when you see people who are like, I go to work every day and I live in a tent because I have to make a decision of, do I have this or do I have that? And I never really get a chance to even think to myself, can I eat today? If they can grab like a bag of chips or something, they're just fine. But they really have to make that decision on a daily basis. Like, what's more important? Do I get to work or do I eat?
And you're right, nobody knows. A lot of food insecure families. I also have a background of food insecurity as a child, and people don't know who you're working with, who you're going to school with. The percentage is a lot higher than a lot of people think. How many people do you think you serve on a weekly or monthly basis?
Probably a week, anywhere from like 300 to 400 people.
Wow.
Because, and it's just like the tip of the iceberg. Mm-hmm. It's because it's like, once you think like, oh, I know this is the area and these are the people, you'll cut down one corner and it'll be like 30 or 40 more people over there. Since the pandemic, a lot of people haven't been able to get into shelters. And so you'll have people kind of just in clusters and they just kind of wait around. You even have people who sleep like right next door to the shelter.
Oh, wow.
So you might have to service them because they can't get in. And they kind of stick near the shelter because it's more of a form of safety, because nobody would do something like too crazy to you right there by the shelter.
Right. You've been doing this since before the pandemic. What are the big changes you've seen? Are you serving more people?
Way more people. It's been like, we were downtown Atlanta near the Greyhound station, and a guy jumped out of his car. He was driving towards us. He jumped out of the car, parked his car, and was like, me and my wife are so hungry.
Oh, wow.
And we've been riding around all day, and we, just been trying to ignore it, and we're so hungry. Can we have something to eat? And when we gave them something to eat, we gave them socks, because it had been raining that day. And just the look on their face of like, wow, I didn't think, no one's out here. And the worst part, because people have been not out, honestly, people haven't been able to get as many resources. A lot of churches are closed, a lot of mosques are closed, so people don't have that resource. People are scared, so they're not really too keen on leaving the house to go feed other people. And then you might have been able to go into a Wendy's or something once upon a time, but now because so many places are only doing pickup, you can't sit in anywhere. So it's just been, I mean, it's like a tent city under like 20 West, and it has increased in size in probably like the past month.
Wow.
It went from maybe like, oh, it's like 30 people over here to like, it's like 70 or 80 people under there.
If you had more food to give, would you be able to serve more than 300 people in a week?
Yes.
Where does your food come from?
I get food. It's one organization called Feeding Georgia Families. They donate. We have Grow Where You Are. They're a local farm in Atlanta. They donate produce to us every 2 weeks. And so we normally get food donors or people who actually just donate their food, and then I'll go to some of the local farms and purchase the food from the local farmers, because I've been noticing since the pandemic that connection has kind of been lost from people because everyone's so scared, kind of just running to a store and grabbing things, but the local farmer is really being left out. And when it comes to like the whole sense of community, we really need those local farmers giving people the freshest produce they can get to really help bring them some sort of healing with their food. And then to even kind of just boost the economy right now, because there's so many people who are losing their businesses like this because they don't have enough money coming in.
Absolutely. It's very important to support the local farmers. So you get the raw material, you get like fresh produce. Do you cook the food yourself? Wow. Do you have help?
It's myself, and I think for the past 3 or 4 weeks, we have a lady. She runs an online food prep business, and she donates around 100 meals a week.
Is that Chronicles of an Electric Girl?
Yes, ma'am.
They were a vendor at our Atlanta Veg Fest one year. They're great people. Yeah.
Yes, and so she donates every week. And she's been doing that. I have a couple of people. It's another lady, her name's Shanti. She herself and her children will prepare about 30 plates every 2 weeks, and they'll drop some stuff off. But the majority of the cooking I do, and my mom helps. My 11-year-old, he likes to sprinkle the seasonings on stuff. So it's just us.
That's the very definition of grassroots, Aisha. You're it's straight up you and your family and a few friends helping. That's really amazing. What is your organization as it stands right now? What is your biggest need?
Our biggest need right now, honestly, is we're gonna need a bigger facility, because to prepare all this food in my house, it's just a bit much. Mm-hmm. So we really need a bigger facility where over time I'm gonna need to get like a bigger vehicle, like a van or access to a van, so I can pack down more food, because it has just been a journey in my little Dodge Avenger preparing all this stuff. And we need more clothes, because with it being so hot and people not having the ability to go in anywhere, if you could wash up, you can't. And so people are really hot and they have on these clothes that, because a week ago it was cold, you have on cold weather clothes in this heat, and a lot of people are not going to survive the summer of not having a heat stroke if they're not hydrated, and then they don't have on the proper clothes and you're already outside. And you have, for the people that you see in tents, there are so many people who don't have tents, they don't have blankets. Even in the sense of, I was discussing with one man, he told me that if you have things, but you leave your things to go somewhere else to do something else, to come back, all your stuff might be stolen. So you might have had clothes a week ago, but then when I left to go find food, I came back and somebody stole all my stuff. And then you have to start from square one.
Right.
So really just the space, van, and the food is I have so many offers for food, but I can't get it all in because I don't have anywhere to store it.
So you're working on hopefully getting a larger kitchen space to prep your food and to store your food. Okay. And so you mentioned clothes. So you also, in addition to food, you donate clothes and hygiene kits. Is that right?
Do clothing, soaps. I've been working on getting a fluoride-free toothpaste for people. Just like an essential package, because I guess from myself experiencing homelessness, like you need the food, you need the water, but there's also other things you need to make you feel like a human. And it's like you need the ability to wash up, you need the ability to brush your teeth, you need the ability to even change your clothes, because sometimes you'll see people and you'll give them the clothes and you might see them the next day, and the confidence they help boost them in that day.
Yeah.
Or they'll be like, yeah, I feel so much better. I have clean clothes. I haven't had clean clothes. It was one man telling us like he had the same pair of pants on for a month. So it's like the little stuff we take for granted, like, oh, I think I wore this like 2 weeks ago. I don't want anybody to see me in it.
Self-esteem and dignity can go a long way, for sure.
A long way. And so yeah, we do clothes, socks, hygiene kits, and then we also do food.
Gotcha. That's really amazing. Let's see. What would you like the community to do right now to help support your organization? Is financial donations your ask right now, or do you mentioned clothes as well? How can people get these things to you?
Financial donations will be great because that's going to be put towards securing a larger facility.
Okay.
Clothing donations, like unopened socks. If people reach me via my Instagram or via email, we can go ahead and set up like a contactless sort of situation where I can pick the clothes up outside of their home. They can drop them off to me, however. But those are the two biggest things we need right now, is the financial to be able to expand, and then we need clothes and socks.
Gotcha. So 5 Loaves Atlanta, are you a .org, your website? Let's see.
Yes. It's 5loavesatlanta.com.
.com. And what's your Instagram?
5 Loaves ATL.
5 Loaves ATL. That's where you can find Aisha Robinson and the work that she's doing and how to help. Well, what are your plans this weekend? Are you preparing lots of food this weekend?
Yes, I just left the Freedom Parkway. Was it the Freedom Farmers Market? So I just grabbed a bunch of greens. So I already have some vegan chicken pot pies made up. So those are done. So we'll get those out today. Then I'll go back home and I'll cook. And then that food will be for tomorrow.
What a gift to be handed a hand-cooked meal. That's wonderful. Do you ever hear any feedback from your clients on the plant-based food? Like, do they say they like it? Do they say they wish they had more access to vegetables? Do you get any kind of feedback like that?
Yes. One day we actually got a donation of like 6 watermelons. So I made watermelon juice and we passed that out with the food. And it was like, you know, the joy you see in a child's eyes when they get excited because they're like, oh, you did something for me. We had one guy who was like, I have been homeless for a very long time and I've been to lots of cars and people say, here, you can have this. But to know like somebody really sat down and thought about what we needed and not just gave us what they think we should have is a really beautiful thing. And you'll have people who won't want food. They might just want oranges and water because they're like, I haven't eaten an orange in years.
Wow. Years. So can you imagine?
Or when somebody will be like, is that quinoa? Wow. You made this for us. And people will think we work at a restaurant. We say, no, we just did this out of kindness of our hearts. It's amazing to see people really, really receptive of your food and it be plant-based. And no one feels like, like this fear that everyone has of, if I give somebody plant-based food, they're not going to like it once they find out it's vegetable.
Right.
But they find it out and they're like, wow, that is so good. I didn't even know you could do that. Wow, I do like mushrooms now. And
Oh,
so it's just amazing to see. And it's really
that's
rewarding to
great.
feel like you're giving people something they need, but they don't feel like you're like forcing anything down their throat. You're not, it's no ulterior motive. You're just being nice for nice sake.
Right, right. And I mean, the reality is the food that's available to folks who are hungry are typically, pantry items that are canned goods, and you
Yes.
take what you can get when you're hungry, but I'm sure it's a delight to get something fresh. Like you said, the watermelon juice. Wow, that's great.
Yes. We had one guy who told us if someone dropped off some ham and cheese sandwiches to them one day, and everybody under the bridge got sick.
Oh.
Apparently, I guess the mayonnaise was hot, so everyone got sick. But because of that, it's like the guy was like, I don't even eat pork, but I had to because I was hungry. Then you eat it, and this is the experience you get when you eat it, and it's amazing to see when people are like, wow, I've been out here and nobody ever thought that I might want an orange, might want a banana. And even sometimes you'll see people say, we've actually been outside, and there was a guy and he asked another guy, hey, can I get your food? The guy like threw it away in his face and wouldn't give it to him. So the guy was about to dig in the trash, so we turned around and gave him a plate. And he was like, wow, really? He was like, I don't have any money. We're like, it's fine, you don't need money. He was like, well, but do I have to come to church? I was like, no, you don't have to do anything. Just eat your food. It's okay. And he was like, wow. And it's amazing to just people to feel like, wow, you cooked this for me. It wasn't like a byproduct of something else, but you took your time out and made this food for me. And it's fresh and it's tasty. Even you'll have people who will recognize, like, is this tarragon? I love tarragon. And it's like that they haven't had that in so long. Nobody treated them like a human being in years. And it's amazing to be able to do that through something as simple as food to make somebody feel humane again.
That's you're taking something that we all need to live and to survive, and providing a small glimmer of pleasure in somebody's day, and that's great. It's amazing.
Right.
And I just gotta say thank you for what you're doing for the community, as far as doing something with compassion and with something in your heart rather than having an ulterior motive. Like you said, you're not making them read a book, you're not making them go to church, you're not making them pose for a video or anything like that. You're just like, can you just eat and enjoy? And more of us need to take that kind of step in our life and just treat our fellow humans with respect. And thank you so much for what you're doing with the community, Aisha.
Thank you for recognizing me. I appreciate that.
Sure. Before we go, and we did mention how you can reach Aisha and how you can help Five Loaves, but I want to find out how you got connected with A Well-Fed World. Did they provide you with a small grant, or how did that work?
They did. Actually, one of the local farmers that I worked with were like, hey, have you heard of A Well-Fed World? And I'm like, no, should I? And so they pointed me in the direction. I sat down and read everything, and I was like, I'm going to submit the grant. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. And they contacted me so quickly. And I mean, so far, I've been able to like really go to farms in the area and just buy this fresh produce for people. I bought a box of peaches and just gave them to people, and to watch like people say, wow, I got peaches. Like, I haven't had a peach in so long. We made peach bread pudding and passed that out to people. And so it's amazing that somebody who's really, they're doing stuff around the world, and to know that the goal is the same, to just feed people the food that they need, to not just to maintain, but to actually start living their lives, to live a healthier life, to live a life that nobody has to suffer because of what's on your plate. I think that's beautiful. So I really...
That is beautiful.
I got in contact with them.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too. That's great. I'm glad they were able to help you, and I hope you get more support as you grow, because I know your organization is pretty new, right? Since December, is that when you
Yeah,
started?
we've only been doing it since, yep.
Very cool.
So
Very cool.
it
I
went
hope you.
from,
What's that?
yeah, it went from like feeding like 13 or 14 people the first time we went out. And then now we're able to feed about 250, 350 people a week. So it grew really fast.
That shows the need right there.
Right.
Well, I hope you're able to continue to grow, and I hope you gain a lot of support as you grow. And I'm going to remember, because it is very important for us to remember that access to fresh, plant-based, healthy food is a right, not a privilege. That's something we need to be reminded of. That it's not only the privileged, not only the wealthy that can eat plants. We should all be able to take care of our bodies and to be as healthy as we can, no matter who we are. And thank you so much for your work.
Thank you.